CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Makovic.
Right now on the afternoon edition, Oaklanders demanding action on public safety and illegal dumping. Thanks for joining us this Monday. People in Oakland are organizing as the city started the new year on rough footing. So far, Oakland has the highest homicide rate in the country with 6 recorded murders. The most recent happening at a flea market last week near the Coliseum. Chopper 5 was over that scene as law enforcement responded to the deadly shooting in a parking lot Friday afternoon. Local leaders are calling it unacceptable.
6 homicides in the first 9 days of this year, just here in Oakland. That is unacceptable. That's outrageous. That kind of violence cannot be tolerated here in the San Francisco Bay Area. You know, when that kind of violent crime happens and government doesn't properly respond, they're violating their social contract with our community.
Meantime, the group of community leaders say they are sick and tired of the illegal dumping on city streets. Check this out. Chopper flew over some trouble spots in East Oakland just this morning, showing how much trash is piled up on the streets.
We need to actually catch the people who are dumping in the same location every freaking day, and we clean it up and it's back the next day. Why not put like a cop there and catch the person? No more meetings, catch the dumpers. No more meetings, catch the dumpers.
The city is holding a meeting at 6 tonight, and we're going to take a deeper dive into all these issues in our 5 p.m. news hour. As unrest escalates in Iran, calls for a regime change are reverberating here in the Bay Area with more protests planned. This was the scene outside the Ferry Building in San Francisco yesterday. More than 1,000 people showing up to show their support for anti-government protesters overseas.
It's heartbreaking. I feel bad that I'm here safe. I'm just asking for help. Please help Iran. We want regime change. We don't want Islamic Republic of Iran.
Meantime, reports from Iran say tens of thousands of people have begun another day of protests. A violent government crackdown is underway. Activists say hundreds of people have been killed. President Trump says Iran now wants to talk to prevent a U.S. military response. Holly Williams is following all of this from northern Iraq.
Iran is erupting. Death to the dictator, they shout on streets around the country, openly calling for the end of the Islamic Republic. Videos posted online appear to show Iranian security forces responding with gunfire. President Trump's repeatedly threatened to hit Iran hard if the regime kills protesters. A US official told CBS News that Trump's been briefed on options for military strikes inside Iran.
We're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options.
But according to one human rights monitoring group, around 500 protesters have already been killed, though we have no way of verifying that number. This video appears to show some of the dead at a morgue near Tehran, the capital. Our partners at the BBC say they've counted around 180 body bags in footage from this location alone. The internet in Iran has been cut off since last Thursday, an apparent attempt by the authorities to stop images like these being shown around the world. President Trump said on Sunday the Iranian regime may now be looking for a diplomatic solution to end the crisis.
Yesterday, the leaders of Iran called. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. We may meet with them.
Iran has targeted the US military before in this region, including by firing missiles at a US base just a few miles from here back in 2020. That was retaliation after the US assassinated a top Iranian general.
All right, back in the Bay, taking a look at some of our local stories. A hearing set for today in the case connected to the Black Friday shooting at Valley Fair Mall that left 3 people injured. Now, 3 adults are accused of helping a suspected teen gunman run away. Prosecutors say the group showed up at the mall wearing red and clashed with rival gang members wearing blue. The 17-year-old in the case faces attempted murder charges. A new state bill taking aim at California's mental health crisis. San Francisco Assembly member Catherine Stefani wants judges to have more options. Her bill would let courts order medication for people who have severe mental illness who can't safely consent as part of a supervised treatment plan. Mayor Daniel Lurie supports the idea and calls it a tool to, quote, break the cycle of repeat crises on city streets.
Stability is the gateway to recovery. For many people with severe mental illness, medication is what allows treatment to work at all. Without it, housing placements fail, care breaks down, and crises repeat themselves.
Under current law, courts only have the power to order someone to participate in assisted outpatient treatment, but cannot authorize medical treatments. A push to get PG&E to pay up. Merchants in San Francisco Sunset District are calling on PG&E to take action after last month's major power outage and make it easier for people to access help. This afternoon at City Hall, they urged people to sign this petition demanding the utility increase customer credits and speed up the claims process. All right, taking a live look outside where we are getting plenty of sunshine and clear skies, but this morning it was definitely chilly. Let's check in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
To the point where the National Weather Service even put out a cold weather advisory for many of our inland communities. What ended up happening this morning, and it was interesting, we topped off in the 30s and 40s as many of us were just leaving the front door this morning. And now as we take a look at that temperature contour map, it is warming up as we head into this afternoon all the way into the 60s in places like San Jose and Los Gatos at least, and along our coast too. 61 degrees over in Half Moon Bay. We're in the upper 50s and lower 60s up into the North Bay. Let's head back to the coast though. You saw that blue color just a second ago. It's a beach hazard statement issued by the National Weather Service as we continue to see choppy conditions out there along the shoreline stretched all the way down to Monterey and right back up to the Bay Area too. What's happening right now, we're still dealing with some choppy waters, rip currents and sneaker waves are possible, and we're continuing to monitor our shorelines closely. Some other things going on for us here in the Bay Area. Well, we have some sunshine on tap for us as we head into the rest of this week's forecast. I want to talk more about this coming up in just a bit and how the rest of this week is also going to shape out too. For now, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Jess. The big game is coming to the big screen in Oakland. Local leaders just announced a free festival and an official NFL Super Bowl watch party that is going to be at the Henry J. Kaiser Center for the Arts. Mayor Barbara Lee says it will be the only watch party of its kind in the region.
Having this here in Oakland, being the only city, really does provide another step in our overall economic development program because it is an economic force multiplier.
Well, the festival is February 8th. It's going to feature live music, family activities, and food vendors, all leading up to a broadcast of the big game, which is, of course, happening at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. All right, a lot of people breaking out the butter. Dungeness crab is finally for sale again, right off the boats at Fisherman's Wharf. Veronica Macias is at the docks as the season kicks off.
That we love it. I mean, it's something we do.
You can come and get it. Boat sales of Dungeness crab have started at Fisherman's Wharf. For Lucas Eady, a third-generation fisherman, there's no other way of life. Despite the challenges and repeated delayed start to the commercial crab season, he brings the beloved dish to the docks for people. It's not only the whale migration and the state regulations making his line of work tough. A lot of local support, he says, isn't what it used to be.
San Francisco's infrastructure right here, it doesn't have a fuel dock, doesn't have a pump out, doesn't have an ice machine, doesn't have a public hoist. All those things were in play 15, 20 years ago. They're gone. Like, what's happening?
The demand, though, hasn't vanished. People are showing up as early as 5:45 in the morning to stand in line for a San Francisco staple, which hasn't been served fresh during the holidays in years. An earlier start in November would have put more profit in their pockets, so fishermen are getting the word out now and hoping to reel in as many people as they can.
It's important for the city to support them, because otherwise you're going to lose an industry that's been here for, time immemorial.
It's kind of nice being able to just get it straight off the boats.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about waiting for a store to open, making sure they still have stock of it or whatever. You can kind of just watch Facebook and see their groups post that they've got it.
It helps that San Francisco is big for foodies. Lots of chefs have been coming by for fresh, local crab. However, with so many state regulations, Edie says it's impossible to sustain himself within the Golden State alone.
We fished all 4 states. You know, we'd have to keep on buying permits and keep on going up and down from San Diego to Alaska just to keep this going. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not happening here, we have to go somewhere else. Just like fish, they have tails, we have props. We have to go where they go, we have to move.
Thankfully, there's been some great weather to help. You can find him on the docks off Alscoma Way. Check for San Francisco off-the-boat sales at Pier 45 and 47 for days and times.
All right, we have some breaking news right now in the East Bay. Police in Oakley dealing with a dangerous situation right now. They just put out an advisory saying there's an armed man on the loose. This is near Gold Run Drive. Again, Oakley officers asking people to stay away from several nearby streets. If you live in that area, stay inside and call police if you see anything suspicious. Again, we've reached out to law enforcement for more information. We're going to update you as this evolves. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, tensions rise between the White House and the Federal Reserve. The latest on the probe against Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell confirming that he is under investigation by the Justice Department. In a video statement, he revealed grand jury subpoenas were issued on Friday threatening criminal charges over his congressional testimony about Fed building renovations. The Trump administration has criticized the $2.5 billion renovation project, but Powell says the move is unprecedented and part of a pressure campaign to get him to lower interest rates.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have blasted the probe as politically motivated. President Trump has denied knowing anything about it. Back to our first alert weather, taking a live look outside from our Sutra camera at the Bay Bridge. A little bit hazy, but generally blue skies as we look out at the Golden Gate. Let's check back in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Blue skies on tap for us pretty much each day this week, but we still have chilly mornings ahead too. Let's take this morning, for example. We were all the way down into the 30s and 40s throughout the Bay Area to the point where the National Weather Service had to issue some cold weather advisories. That looks different, and I'll show you in just a second as we head into this afternoon. But something else to note, you see that blue along the coast from Monterey all the way up into places like Bodega Bay. That's a beach hazard statement issued by the National Weather Service as we continue to see choppy waters out there and rip currents and sneaker waves. Now below me, what you're seeing is the temperature contour map warming up into this afternoon. 60s on tap for us today throughout the South Bay. Off into the East Bay, still a little bit chilly in some of those microclimates. Antioch today at 52 degrees, 60 up into Napa. Yeah, it's a beautiful day to get out there and get some fresh air, but you might still need the jacket, especially if you live in some of those cooler microclimates. The good news about this forecast, we're all starting to warm up as we head into the rest of this week. Anywhere from the coast all the way off into our East Bay communities too. And speaking of those communities, we're up to around a 20-mile-per-hour wind gust already in places like San Francisco and Oakland. We'll continue to see those winds push from the northeast into the evening hours tonight. So a little bit breezy for us, despite the fact that we're seeing blue skies above us and clear conditions. Really, we don't have a drop of rain in sight anytime soon as we head into the next 7 days. And that's something to celebrate, especially because our drought monitor, well, there is no drought. The whole state of California, for the first time in 25 years, is completely out of drought conditions, and that's something to celebrate. I mean, look at our neighboring states. There's still plenty, anywhere from Nevada all the way over into the Four Corners and everywhere in between. So California, yeah, I know, it was pretty brutal from Christmas all the way into New Year's with heavy showers, but here's the treat. Here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Many days ahead of us as we gear up for this week's forecast with sunshine and a little bit of a warm up too. Mid-60s around the corner as early as Wednesday. We'll hold on tight to that similar trend. Upper 60s even as we dive into this weekend's forecast. It's going to be a beautiful one for us right around the corner. Back to you, Ann.
All right. Thank you, Jess. It is the movie 50 First Dates, but in real life. It's bittersweet. We're going to tell you the story of one dementia patient and his tendency to fall back in love with his wife every time he sees her. Well, there is a man, a dementia patient in Berkeley, who experiences love at first sight every time his wife comes to visit. Laureen Ayub has more on the real-life story about falling in love all over again.
It's a love story that renews each day. Linda and Michael are getting married again in Berkeley. First married in 1987, Michael, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 7 years ago, recently proposed to his bride once again.
Well, every time Michael sees me, it's as if, it's the first time. Like, he's so excited. He's like a little boy. He like shakes his hand sometimes, and he just lights up. And that's very special.
The wedding, hosted by the Ivy, an assisted living and memory care center where Michael resides, celebrates their love while thoughtfully acknowledging the real-life experiences patients and families face after a dementia diagnosis. According to the Alzheimer's Association, over 7 million Americans live with the disease.
When you first notice this and people are making mistakes, like getting names wrong and not understanding things, it's not to correct them. It doesn't help. The person gets upset. My mother-in-law had the best advice: go with the flow.
And the love has been flowing for 38 years now. As they celebrated with friends and family, Linda says, despite Michael's cognitive challenges, she does her best to look at the bright side.
The good news is that he loves me, and he exudes love always, and that really feels special. I return the love, and I also feel grateful that that's what's left of our relationship. And we just made it work.
Remnants of joy that revive each day.
We always laugh.
All right, back to our breaking news in the East Bay. Law enforcement in Berkeley dealing with a dangerous situation. They say there is an armed man on the loose threatening people. This is near Gold Run Drive. The Contra Costa Sheriff's Office says this man is described as being in his 40s, wearing a hat and gray hooded sweatshirt. They're asking people to stay away from nearby streets there. And if you live in the area, stay inside. Call police if you see anything suspicious. We're going to be keeping an eye on that situation in Oakley throughout the afternoon. And Hollywood's still buzzing about the Golden Globes last night. Timothée Chalamet took home Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy for Marty Supreme. Best Actress in a Drama went to Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. And on the TV side, The Pit won Best TV Drama, where stars and creators honored real-life first responders.
I also want to thank the first responders and healthcare workers who are the real heroes who inspire us.
Meantime, Amy Poehler beat her ex-husband, Will Arnett, for the Golden Globes' first ever Best Podcast Award. All right, that is it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we are streaming 24/7, though, on the free CBS News app. Just download that app. You can choose live and then Bay Area. In the meantime, have a great Monday afternoon.